Welcome to Big Money Sales Moves, the podcast for powerhouse coaches, consultants, and entrepreneurs who are ready to scale with confidence and consistent cash flow. I'm your host, Karissa Adkins, speaker, author, and creator of the $1 Million Sales Matrix. Here is where we break through the industry lies that keep women overworked and underpaid. Say goodbye to bro tactics and burnout, and hello to alpha queen strategies. Sales, premium client attraction, and CEO level leadership that makes scaling simpler, faster, and more profitable. If you're ready to step into your $1 million era and make your next big money move, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Hey, what's up, you guys? Hello. Welcome back to Iconic Leadership with me, Karissa Adkins. This show is where alpha strategy meets queen embodiment and where women rise into power, purpose, and legacy on their own terms. So today's conversation is for the woman who knows she's meant for more, but has had to fight for every inch of it. I am joined by Samantha Rambo, but everyone that I know, including myself, we all call her Sam. So Sam is a board-certified family nurse practitioner with nearly 2 decades in the healthcare industry. Sam is the founder of Wellness for Anybody and a woman who decided that health should never feel confusing, lonely, or out of reach for anyone. I love Sam, and I cannot wait for our discussion today, guys. But she entered healthcare out of necessity, right? Doing what she had to do to survive. But what she found in that was purpose. So after years of watching her patients return to hospitals simply because no one ever taught them how to truly care for themselves, Sam flipped the script, total alpha queen move, by the way, and she stopped waiting for the system to change and became the change that she desired to see. Oh, I just got goosebumps out of that. So yeah, today she is on a mission to make healthcare make sense, to empower people before crisis hits, and to prove that leadership isn't born in comfort, it's forged in choice. So from hospital floors to beach shores, Sam brings heart, humor, and humanity to everything that she does. And when she's not transforming lives through education and prevention, she's traveling, laughing with people that she loves, and training for a high rocks in 2026. So excited because she knows that embodiment matters at every level. So last couple of things, and then I'm going to introduce her in here, guys. But her philosophy is simple, yet so freaking powerful. Health should be something you live, not something you fear. Sam is also a featured author in the Alpha Queens Rising legacy book and a keynote speaker at the Rise 2026 event where purpose meets power. And today we're talking about what it really means to choose yourself when everything is on the line. So Sam, welcome to the Iconic Leadership Show. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Karissa. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. And I just want to say I'm super excited to be here and your first interview.
Yeah,
It's a new switch. So listen to your show every Tuesday morning. I listen to the replay and I just love it.
Oh, I received that. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Sam. We love it when listeners listen every day, listen every week or tune in. But more importantly, some of the feedback that you've given me, I think you said you loved the action steps or the strat. I don't know. I can't remember what it was because I get so many DMs, but I just love that you have put it on your calendar for every week to listen to the replay. So thank you. I appreciate you. Well, okay, I'm going to dive in because this time goes so fast, as you guys know. And I truly believe that every woman carries a story, and not just where she's been, but of who she's become. And so often the work we've been called to do in this world is born from the moments that stretched us and shaped us and challenged us, and more importantly, asked us to rise up. So with that in mind, Sam, take us back to the moment where everything began to shift for you.
Yes. So this story, of course, goes back about almost 20 years. It was about 2005, 2006. I had a 1.5-year-old daughter at that time, and I was grocery shopping, and I get up to the register, in a pretty good mood that day. I'm a pretty positive person. Run my card, and it is declined. So, yes, here I am standing with my 1.5-year-old little child, groceries bagged up. I'm embarrassed. It's not going through, but ladies, this was not the first time, unfortunately, that this had happened to me in the past year and a half. And I was like, this cannot keep happening. And went home, found out it was negative $451. And at the time, I'm a CNA, so I was making a little less than $10 an hour. So I'm negative more than 1 week's work. I had no clue what to do. I knew why we were negative. I had a boyfriend that was into pills at the time, unfortunately, and I knew that day I made a promise to myself. I'm like, I can't anymore. I've met for more. I didn't know how I was going to change. I didn't know what life looked for me in the future. It looked like for me, but I knew I had to get out of there.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, grabbed some belongings, took my daughter. We went to the state office because I was like,
Mm.
have no money, barely any gas. I didn't know how the state worked. Asked the state for help, and they're like, you got to fill out this process, you got to fill out this application. I'm like, I have no money now. Like, I don't even have enough gas to get to my mom's house where I was going to be staying. And I, now mind you, again, this is 20 years ago, and I can remember what he looks like vividly, a middle-aged guy. He was kind of bald, wearing glasses. I'm sitting across this desk full of papers. I have my 1.5-year-old in the car seat on the floor, and I just start bawling. I'm like, I can't be stranded on the side of the street. So luckily, I was able to get a gas card, stayed with my mom, who was not in any better financial situation than I was at the time. So,
Yeah.
um, but she provided a safe place. She provided, a place for me and my daughter to stay. My daughter slept in my mom's room. I actually slept on the couch in my brother's room, teenage brothers.
Oh.
And yeah, Carissa, it was insane. It was a very weird part of my life, very hectic, like not knowing what to do. I'm 24 at the time, so it's still fairly
Yeah.
young looking
Yeah.
back. And so, ladies, I just had to keep going. I had to really put one foot in front of the other, and I picked up some CNA shifts and saved up and got my own apartment and went to nursing school, went to grad school, and then of course there was a lot of stuff that happened in between. But just to kind of give you the quick version, I really just had to keep going.
Wow.
And as I was kind of thinking what I wanted to talk about on this podcast, ladies, it was really the steps that I had to take to get
Mhm.
there.
I
And
love that.
I am actually a current client of Carissa's. I've been with Carissa for over 2 years. So she's done amazing things for me. But as I was kind of reflecting on the moments that had to led up to even working with Carissa, you got to believe in yourself. And I picked the word rise because we are co-authoring the book, and Carissa talks about rise so much, and that word means so much to me. And I'm like, how did I rise? And here it was, and it's 4 easy steps, lady. Do you
Oh,
mind if I share?
wait.
Sorry.
I'm like,
Sorry.
ooh, I know
Yeah,
you're so
sorry.
excited. I'm like, ooh, no, we got to listen to the whole show to get these four easy steps. I actually
Yes.
want to back it up for just a quick moment.
Sorry, I was
Um,
getting excited.
me too, girl. I was like, oh, tell me, tell me, tell me. And I was like, wait, no, we're only a few minutes in.
Yeah.
So I think so many women can honestly relate to that story in some way,
Yeah.
shape, or form. Personally, as a 15-year-old single mama, I know what it's like for debit cards not to go through, to WIC checks,
Yes. Yep.
to child support not coming in and hoping to God that it all will work out. Like, I remember those moments, and that was tough. I mean, we were
Yeah.
kids having kids, we were young mamas. So I'm curious, what was some of the biggest, earliest mindsets, that like mindset shift that you had to learn to overcome? Because not a lot of women get out of those statistics of, young mom, single mom, a lot of women who end up going on state aid. Honestly, Sam, they don't even
Yeah.
get off of it. And
No.
so what you have done, what women like you and I have been able to do is remarkable. So I want to kind of unpack that just a little bit for any woman who's kind of going through that. So what was the mindset shift, that you had to kind of overcome in order for you to pick yourself back up and remind yourself that, you're just going to keep going?
it's reminding yourself that you're not your current situation.
Mm.
And it's simply to simply put, your current situation, no matter with what you're faced with, that is not you, even in the crappiest of circumstances. And yes, I grew up with a mom on welfare and single mom, and I'm like, I didn't want to be that person. I did not want to be that mom. I made a promise to myself I wasn't going to be that mom. And here I am, that mom. And it was just like, what is going on? So it's realizing you're meant for more. You're not your current situation. And it's never giving up on yourself. And it's putting your ego aside. Like you
Mm.
said, Carissa, like nobody wants to go to the state office and get on state aid. Nobody wants the gas vouchers. When I was going to college, Annie and I lived in the dorm room, actually the dorm, which was great. But like I had to have my professor sign a piece of paper
Mm.
stating I was there so I could get $300 a month in
Right.
aid from the state because I wasn't getting child support. And I have people ask me, what's that form that you have to get signed? Like why are you doing it? I had to be honest. I was honest with myself and I was honest with them. Like, this is what I need to do to get through the situation I'm in and to better myself. It doesn't matter. Like that doesn't define me. Just because I'm on state aid doesn't mean I'm not
Mhm.
working. I'm not a hardworking woman. I'm not going to get myself off of, my first check.
Yeah.
I think they took more, first year they took more out of taxes and they gave me the whole 2 years I was on aid. So, it was just always knowing like, Sam, you're meant for more.
Mm.
Don't feed into the fact that don't follow the stereotypes that people
Yeah.
say are out there. And
I love that and I honestly think that's a leadership move right there, right? We talk a lot about leadership here on this show, and what that can look like. And a lot of people define leadership, in so many different, there's so many definitions of what leadership looks like. Some people
yeah,
like get thrown that title, some people earn that title, some people like believe that leadership, you're born with leadership qualities. But right there in that moment, like you had to push the ego aside. That's a leadership move. That's an iconic leadership move, in my opinion, where you're like, I like the generation, the curse, if you will, of like that happened to my mom. I don't want to be like that. Here I am, right here in this moment, in that same situation, but it stopped with you. And the minute you chose that, it wasn't about that wasn't, that moment isn't defining you, and that it was just the moment that you were in, like that's a leadership move. And I just hope that you take a moment to celebrate you because not a lot of women, like I said, can step into that leadership role, and you freaking did it.
thank
You
you.
did.
And I received that. Thank you for that. I never looked at it as like a leadership thing. I just always, I guess I wanted better. I knew
Yeah. Oh,
there's better out there. And when you're 24 and you know this, I mean, you were a young mom and you have no money and you're just like, oh my, how am I going to get there? Like you don't even know how you're going to get there. So you just have to wake up every day and
mm,
you just have to keep going. And fast forward 20 years, all of a sudden you have a successful business, you're traveling and your daughter's doing great. But at that time, you're just like, Is this really going to happen? How can this happen? And to be
yeah.
honest with you, Carissa, and you could maybe, I mean, because you're a very successful woman yourself, and you've been through that dark place, and I know some of your other stories. It's it took me a while to accept that I have a great life. And
Mm,
I know that sounds so crazy, but it's almost going to make me cry. It really wasn't until maybe like a year and a half ago where I was able to truly sit back and accept and embrace everything that I had worked for. Like I just always thought, sorry, oh my gosh, I didn't think I was gonna cry. I just always thought like all this is like you almost felt like you were living someone else's life, even though you were the one putting in the work. And I always felt like it was going to get taken away from me.
mm, yeah.
And I'll 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 be honest, you made me a great meditation when we talked about this, and it helped. And
Mm,
like I said, it really wasn't over until like a year and a half where I was truly able to be like, you know what, Sam, you created this life. You get to deserve the life that you have. Don't feel bad about the life that you have. Yes, other people, I don't know. So I just wanted to say that, like, even when you do hit success, you have to learn to embrace your success and celebrate your success and realize you are worth your success. Because that was the next step. Like I knew I was
Yeah.
worth success, and then I get success, and then I'm like, I'm worthy of it. Like this is mine. This is
Yeah, I mean,
mine.
you after coaching hundreds of women, right? We sometimes feel like, why is this happening? Like, are you crazy? Like, I've worked my butt off to get here. Like, of course I deserve this amount of success. But
Yes.
some part of our programming says, it's not going to last. Something's always going to come and swipe, it out from under us. Am I even, worthy of this kind of success? Thank God you moved through that transition period very, very quickly because I've seen seven-figure entrepreneurs that I've worked with completely burn down their business to the ground because, or like this sneaky self-sabotage has popped up
Yeah.
because they just haven't truly changed their programming around, I get to have this all. I get to create my best life. I get to share it with the world. And I'm an inspiration and not coming from like this place of ego and like I'm bragging, right? Because a lot of women think that they're bragging when they talk about their success. And it's kind of been hush hush. And I don't want to I could definitely go down like a 5 hour conversation around like where this conditioning and programming come from.
Yeah.
But actually, and I'm not, so I'm going to pause myself right there, guys. But I want to kind of turn the table here, Sam, because we heard about these moments where you had to just keep telling yourself, it'll be okay. I got this. This is not your forever story. So there you were in college. I can't even imagine. My daughter's in college. Your daughter's in college, right? Could you, like, I can't even imagine being in college. I didn't go to college, so that's probably why. But I can't even imagine having a little girl, a baby
Oh
in a
yeah.
college dorm room. So we're going to kind of bypass those years. And I actually want to talk about the purpose that you have stepped into now, right? Because you were a nurse and like now you have this amazing app. So I kind of want to talk about, the business that you're running today
Yeah.
and where that stemmed from. So tell me just a little bit about your business.
Yeah, so my business, Wellness for Anybody, we are releasing an app March 9th, which is great. It's an add-on to the business. Yes, it's something I've always wanted to see happen. What I realized when I was a nurse, when I was a nurse practitioner, is that health can be very overwhelming. It could be very scary. And we all know if we are not healthy, like mentally, physically, it affects our whole life. So
Hmm.
we need to have it. We need to have it all. We need to be there mentally. We need to be there physically. And what I was finding and realizing over and over and over again, working with patients, is that your physical health can start to affect your mental health. Your mental health starts to affect your physical health. And it's so hard for a provider to get this education done in 10 minutes. Like it's just not going to happen. We all know that we've been to the doctor's office, we told them our story, and by the time we're done telling our story, they don't even have time to educate because it's time for them to move on to the next one. So I did a lot of my own programming, did my own course modules, kept in contact a lot more than some of the other providers at the clinic I worked at. And my patients were having great success. They were just
Mm.
having wonderful, wonderful success. So I just wanted to be able to provide it to more than just my patients. I felt like this was a product and something I solely believe in so wholeheartedly that I want to be able to provide this education to across the world.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to, and I want to give Karissa credit for this because I worked with other business coaches who always told me to niche down my market. Well, as a family nurse practitioner, there is no just working with diabetics. There is no just working with high cholesterol, high blood pressure. So I was at a retreat and it dawned on me, I'm talking about marketing, talking about something. I'm like, I don't need to niche down my market. And you never told me to. You never did. I need to, I need to change my market. And
Mm.
that's when I decided I want to sell this product to providers who can share it with their patients. So it's an app. It's going to have disease management, short videos, workouts, diet plans, everything that patients need that have learned in the last 20 years of doing this to be successful
Mm.
in their health. And we want to also address mental health, and I don't mean like even if you don't quote unquote have depression or anxiety or something, you still could be struggling with something, acutely or short term, but we need to reprogram and help people change their mindset about their health and how to manage that.
100%. And just even like seeing the warning signs, because I feel like I've been in
Yeah.
the espresso depresso lane multiple times in my life. That phrase goes out to Sarah. She would always say espresso depresso mom. But I've been there. Plenty of times. And I will say that, in my 20s, I got through that depression. I didn't know I was depressed.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
wait, what? What is this? Like, why do I feel like absolute shit? And I didn't want to take medication. And so I found my health, in the gym, in clean eating, in getting sleep, and just taking care of me, even if it was 5 minutes a day. So I learned how to beat depression, but I'll be honest, right? Like, it's hard to know you're in it. And then once you're in it, it's hard to get
Get
out.
out.
And so like even just becoming like these videos around like awareness of what these early signs are around depression or anxiety or any, mental health issues, and that it's okay to talk about it. Like
Yeah.
I think we as women, we think we can like hold the weight of the world and we, nothing's wrong with us and we got it all and like the pressure, the pressure, the pressure. And it's like, actually, I can get help for this and it's okay to talk about this and it doesn't make me any less successful. And who gives a shit what people think about me? Oh, okay. All right. So,
Yes, yes.
whew,
And we will
I
also be
knew our
offering
conversation.
live support throughout the week. So it's not just an app. We really want to take it to the next level and have time set aside where people can bring their questions. My
Right.
goal ultimately is once you leave that doctor's office, they give you the app. We have enough providers on staff. You're calling someone right away with,
Mhm.
"Hey, I got this. What do I do now?" That's my goal.
I love that. Real-time support when
Yes.
it's needed. Because yeah, when the doctor's like, any questions? And they're like, really, like, they're like, please don't ask because I don't even have time to answer
Yeah.
them.
They're tapping
You're
their
like,
foot. They
of
got
course
one foot
not,
out the
right? And then like
door.
an hour later, you're driving home and you're like, I actually do have 1,000 questions.
Yep.
That's going to be so beneficial. I love it, guys. The app is coming. Be asking your doctor's providers, if they don't have something like this, get in touch with Sam. She'll get in touch with them and then she'll be able to work
Yes.
with them. That's true impact right there. Sam realized, that this vision of like changing healthcare for people, it goes beyond her working one-on-one with people. She knew that in order to impact millions of lives, she would have to start working with the people that actually had access to the thousands of people, right?
Yes.
That's how we create that ripple effect. So I want to go back to the 4 tips that you almost spilled the beans on at the
Oh, yes.
beginning. I want to go back to those 4 laser tips, and then I want to talk about why you said yes to the Alpha Queen Rising legacy book, and then we'll kind of end it with some beautiful firing questions. So, what are your 4 tips, ladies? Get your pen and paper out. Write
Perfect.
this down.
So yeah, if you're really struggling and you really know that you're meant for more and you really want to make a change, the first step is reality check. You
Mm,
have to face your reality and you have to face it without shame. I think that's the big part that people don't realize. Like your reality, like we said before, does not define you. So you have to be honest with yourself. If you don't like your reality, figure out why, whether it's financially, emotionally, relationship wise, just face that reality. And then next is set your intentions. You always talk about this too, Karissa. It's just decide what you want to change first. As a provider and as a woman, one thing that can become very overwhelming and can get you stuck is you have, oh my gosh, I want to get from here all the way to here, but there's too many steps. For me, if you remember, like just going back to my story, the first thing I did was I just left the apartment. That was step one. I decided I have to do that first. And you don't have to change your whole life in 1 month or one day. You just have to figure out that first step that's going to get you on that path. And then the small consistent steps. We hear
mm,
about this all the time. You just have to keep moving forward, make those small consistent steps. For me, it was just working the extra shifts, applying to
mm.
nursing school, going to nursing classes. And then, those steps lead into big breakthroughs and just elevate. You
Yeah.
gotta keep elevating yourself. And for me,
Yes.
it was working as a CNA to a nurse to getting my master's degree to owning a business. And it just you have to keep elevating yourself and
Mm,
surrounding yourself with good people is
mm,
one. I've been working with business coaches since 2020 because I did have my degree, I did have this, but it's like, how do I elevate myself even further? You got to always be around those people that are either doing what you're doing or are even
mm.
a few steps ahead of you is how you elevate yourself. So that's the thing: reality, intention, small steps, elevate. um
I love
and
that.
I had to use the word rise because I'm big into it, and it's really got me um to where I am, honestly.
I love
So
it.
where I am
I love it.
today.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And you definitely will not be a year from now. We'll be like, oh my gosh, can you believe? Like, look at this, look at the rise up moment that you did and went through. So speaking of Rise, so when the invitation to be a part of the Alpha Queen Rising Legacy book landed in your world, what made this a full body yes for you?
It was the excitement, and like I said, I've been working with Karissa for a little over 2 years. I've gone to a few retreats. She's been my business coach, and everything you do is just always like elevation. Like we start with one thing and then all of a sudden it elevates. And I've always wanted to, when I was younger, I always wanted to be an author or write something. So I was like, here's my opportunity to start becoming comfortable with telling my story, writing my story. And I want to see where this goes because I knew it wasn't just probably going to be like a book. Like I guess it was just like, what's going to happen out of it? Like that's how I like the curiosity of like, okay, well this is fun. It just got me all excited, and just like I said, just the fact to be able to share the story, and I was launching the business. Remember, like I already knew it was going to be coming in February or March, so it was just like it just seemed like the perfect timing.
Yes. Oh my gosh, guys. If your coaches are not stretching you, challenging you, and seeing something bigger and what's possible in you, I want to encourage you to just find another coach. I've some of my favorite coaches, and I will never do business without a mentor or a coach on my P&L.
Me
I just
neither.
can't imagine doing business like
Yep.
alone ever. But if they're not stretching you and challenging you to think bigger, go bigger, 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 right? That's like, I feel like that's one of my biggest superpowers is like, but did you know that we could do this? And they're like, oh my gosh, right? And it just explodes. So yes, the book started out as a book. We're now hosting a in-person live experience in Bellevue, Nebraska. It's called Rise 2026, where purpose meets power. And we would love to have you in the room, guys. You can grab your ticket to the event. You can buy your book. The links are in the show notes, of course. So last question I have for you, Sam, super lightning round here. If you had a superpower, what would it be?
Ooh, if I had a superpower, what would it be? You know what? I think it would be to be able to get people to stop arguing
Oh,
instantly. Like whether it was my husband, my daughter, if I just looked at them, gave them the eyes, they would just instantly put a smile on their face and stop arguing. That would be my superpower because I think that would just create so much more time for me.
very
It's so
mom,
many
right?
less
Like if I could
headaches.
just give the kid the death stare and they actually stop arguing.
Yes,
I
yes.
love, love,
I
love
would
that.
use it every day, multiple times too. So
Like every hour. I love that. Well, Sam, thank you so much for bringing your truth, your leadership, and your heart into this space. This conversation is such a reminder that real leadership doesn't come from having it all figured out. It comes from being willing to choose yourself again and again and again, and sometimes again, ladies.
Yes.
So, for everyone listening, if today's episode spoke to you, I want you to hear this very clearly. Your story matters. Your voice matters, and the version of you that's rising right now is not accidental. So if you want to go deeper with all of this, grab the copy of Alpha Queens Rising, join us at Rise 2026, and if you're ready to step into iconic leadership and legacy level expansion, you can book a private call with me. Links are below in the show notes, like I said. And as always, this is Iconic Leadership with Karissa Adkins, where women don't wait to be chosen. They freaking decide to go after epic shit. I love you all. And Sam, thank you so much.
Yes, thanks for having me. Bye.
That's a wrap for today's episode of Big Money Sales Moves. Say goodbye to hustle and grind and burnout, and hello to ethical sales and Alpha Queen strategies. If you're ready to master high-ticket sales, scale your business, or grow your empire, head on over to www.alphaqueencollective.com and make your next big money move today.